Hello and welcome to the Accesso Corsa Competizioni Sim Series, Season 5 opener for our gold split. But before we get there, we also have something else to premiere. This is going to be the first time where we have a support race for our main series. And the way we're going to be doing that is by having a GT4 series, which is going to run in front of our main series. It's going to be much more of a casual series, much more of a sort of drop in and drive sort of thing. I'm obviously Gareth Runfer, and I will be joined by Mihai. But first, he's actually going to be in the server competing with the GT4 guys. We've got a great grid of cars. We haven't done much GT4. A lot of people have wanted us to do more GT4. You can see we've got Ryan Ware in the Chevrolet. There's a couple more Chevrolets, including that of Oscar Isberg. We've got some Aston Martins, Richard Bradfield, Luis Fernandez, Pavel Aronovich driving the Maserati, and Martin Cube driving the McLaren, some of the only ones in those. Gino Rodriguez, the sole KTM driver. And then we've got a couple of Porsches, a load of BMWs. A single Ginetta driven by my man Bartkus, and a couple of Porsches and Mercedes to boot. The race is just about to get underway, so I will immediately throw us in game, and we're going to start this off. We have Ryan Ware on pole. Not surprising, because Ryan Ware, when they first started with us in ACCSS, he was known as the king of the GT4s, and I think, is that what that is? Yeah, it is showing the ideal line, which is not ideal. Okay, well, I would just have to have that, unfortunately, for this time. I didn't know that that was a thing when you were looking in broadcast mode, actually. No, we're just going to have to watch it. Whatever. As we come round, looks like a short formation, so we're just starting off. No, this is...
It's so rough, yep.
This has annoyed me, but we're going to have to watch it, because it would take too long to change, and they're getting to the green lights now. So Ryan Ware in pole, followed by Felipe Sixon, and they're off. You can see the BMW there of Mihai already getting a great start around the Porsche of Chatterjee. The first two, Ryan Ware and Sikansi, going off. Oh, Aston Martin almost gets into a few of them on the start there, but our first two have got around safety. They're still side by side. Sikansi in this purple and green car to the side of Ryan Ware. Ryan Ware is going to take the lead, however, in the BMW. Oh, good device speed. Thank God. That was going to absolutely trigger me if that was going on the whole way around. But a good start by Ryan Ware. Really good to see Sikansi there. Sikansi, a newer member to the league. So I haven't been able to see how he is in GT4 yet. And Ryan Ware going off there onto the grass. Definitely not wanting to cool his tyres down in the GT4. So that was just a mistake. Oh, no, it's corners only. Okay, so it is still going to trigger me. But he is going to take the lead there. And then I have it hidden. That's so annoying. Is there a HUD thing I can do to change it or something? No. Unlucky. We're just going to have to deal with it as we see Martin Q now, apparently? No, that's the thing messing up. Bartkus, though, in the Ginetta is up to third position. That is a huge run from him. Really good as Sikansi has taken the lead from Ryan Ware as we're watching the first four coming around the last corner for this 20-minute support race for our GT3 series. Further back in the field, we have the orange Porsche of Martins, who's just taken the Aston Martin of Fernandez into fifth position, followed by Chatterjee and Mihai, who slipped down the field a little bit after having a really good start. And here's Pavel Gonna have to have a look at Pavel, because obviously he is in the Ginetta. Yeah, I know. The racing line, I'm going to have to keep saying it throughout this recording because there's going to be people coming in throughout the video. I'm very sorry. I accidentally had the racing line off, and there goes Pavel, his first spin in the Maserati. I didn't see if that was aided by anyone else because there was quite a few of them there coming together. To have a check-in back at the front. The Kansi, it seems, has started to rocket away from the field a little bit here. Ryan Ware... oh no, Ryan Ware is rocking away for Little Field. He's managed to get ahead again. The Kansi in second position. He's in the Bimmer. Very traditional Bimmer livery, quite nice, but he's now being pressured by Martin Cube, the sole representative of McLaren here. Barticus holding on in the Ginetta, but not quite able to keep up with the McLaren, although he's going to go for it here into the tail end of this top section. This is the bit I hate on this track, by the way. This is so stressful. Yeah, it should be nice in the wet, though. It doesn't have the sort of huge torque that some of the other cars can have, and so it won't have as many issues getting its power down. Side by side now with the McLaren of Martin Cube. Yeah, it's because it's the racing line only exists for the corners. Oh no, yeah, when you're looking from the front, it is gone. It's weird. I don't know, man. We'll have this sorted for the main race. I'm glad I hopped into this race first then, because I found this. And Barticus has managed to get past Martin Cube as well, which is a huge shout out to him. We'll check back because there's quite a few other fights going on. Obviously a shorter race, a full-on sprint race here, so a lot of people are going to be quite close together. Mihai has managed to work his way back up to 6th position, probably made a few places from some of those incidents there. Still got this lovely pack fighting for second as Ryan Ware has pulled off as he is to do. Right, I'm just gonna have this ready to copy and paste whenever I need it. So yeah, Ryan Ware, as we sort of expected really, because he is, as we call him, the king of GT4s, in this incredibly colourful Chevrolet, has pulled ahead. Really nice to see the Chevrolet doing well. Chevrolet's a great car. This is the car I would probably be wanting to drive, this or the Ginetta. And the Ginetta is actually picking up a second place, so Kansi spun. The Kanski has at some point spun. Let's try and check a replay quickly and see what was happening there. Oh, actually, he's already lost the position by there, but going onto the grass. So losing positions into turn 1, it looks like, for Sikansky, who is now down in 5th position behind the orange Porsche. That is the orange Porsche of Jose Martins, I believe. Yep. Jose Martins, who's now in 3rd, is Barticus falling down the order. A lot of people having trouble, and as we say that, Sikansky taking to the off-road at Audi. And we're going to see a lot of people do that, I think, in both of our races. That braking point is hard enough to get right in the dry, honestly. Going to be absolute madness to see it in the wet. Just damp so far for these GT4 races, as Martin takes a lot of the grass there. Getting a bit wide, but manages to keep a decent speed out of it. Will have probably lost some momentum there, but actually keeps up quite well with Martin Cube, who was pulled up into 2nd position. He's going for the inside here, which becomes the outside very quickly into this tight little section, which is obviously banked now in real life. A little tap there from the Ginetta. So nice through these really tight, twisty corners. He's just managed to pull up right onto the back of the Porsche there, with the 2 BMWs still following. We'll have a look at some battles further back in the field here. We have Richard Bradfield in the Aston Martin, getting pressured by Blank Kiss behind him in this AMG, while he's trying to take Richard Bell, who is the Porsche in front of him. Really got to shout out the colours on that Aston Martin. Big fan of that. I believe that's a custom. Yeah, that's a custom. That's a really nice choice of colours. Super cool. And you got a very traditional AMG behind him. as we have a spinner there off to the edge. Who could that be? Is that Mihai or Sikansky? Mihai is still going. Sikansky. Oh, Sikansky was doing so well at the beginning of this race and has just been having issue after issue since then, falling down the order as we see the Maserati of Pavel Aronovich, who has clearly had another spin himself, but doing decent, keeping up with the pack, chasing down Julio Rodriguez in the KTM right now. 67, Richard Bell has also had an incident, and that was a crash with Richard Bradfield. So let's try and see how this happened. Richard Bradfield, looking for a dive down the inside there, but doesn't make it work. Possibly going to come back at the Porsche into the next corner, feeling like he can do it. He's broken away from that AMG that was behind him. Oh, and is there going to be a big dive into this corner? There is not. There is just failed braking, and then the Mercedes behind him sends the Aston Martin round as well. That is an unfortunate situation for the both of them, and that puts Richard Bell down into 15th position. And where's Bradford in 11th in his Aston Martin, just behind Sikansky, who has also absolutely slipped down the order. And unless there's two Sikanskis, there is two Sikanskis. This is actually Fabio Sikansky, who hasn't slipped down the order. He's been making his way slowly up the order as other people have failed. The Sikansky we were looking at before was Felipe Sikansky, so not confusing at all. And he is now down in 40th place as Ryan Ware, still in the Chevrolet, pulls out the lead. Jose Martinez in his Porsche, pulling up behind. And the first fight is still this battle for third position between Martin Cube in his McLaren and Giantatas Bartkus in his little Ginetta there, pulling onto the inside through Vodafone. But that actually puts him in a bad position when it comes down to Audi, and he just doesn't quite have the speed on the straights that the McLaren has either, which is going to make it really difficult to pass any of here at all. Kiss has it having a DT as well. I'm not sure where he would get a drive-through for, unless he's been doing some hard cuts. You see him making a bit of a mistake there. Possibly his pit? Not sure. $1K too much somewhere. I'm not sure where that is, but if you could tell me. Was it Sikansky? Was I calling him Sikansky or something? Anyway. This battle pulling on and on and on, so we can try and find some other action going on as well. Julio Rodriguez has managed to pull himself up from last in the KTM to 11th position, almost into the top 10 here, really close behind Bradford here in the Aston Martin. He's actually got 10th there, so there was someone who's made a mistake. You see a couple of people in the pits. No mandatory pit stop in this race, so possibly retiring or possibly have sustained some serious damage. Try and check back on some of these fights in the middle of the track, because these are really the places where we're going to see overtakes, both in the GT4 race right now and also in the GT3 race later. It's really these two infield corners, Vodafone at the top of the track map and Audi at the bottom. Very tight and twisty track here at Zandvoort, so not expecting to see the absolute most of overtaking, but if we do see some overtakes, they could be brave. Obviously, the first corner is another place where you can get overtakes. But not really a place where the Ginetta is going to feel too comfortable. So 7 minutes left still on this damp track, and Barkus goes for it. I'm still not quite confident enough saying his second name to just blurt it out like that. But he really goes for it. They're still side by side now, heading up towards Vodafone. This is an interesting situation for the both. The McLaren actually just gets the better line and manages to pull through. Trying to go for the switchback is Barkus. Side by side down to Audi, but the McLaren does have the inside line into this corner. And he also has a little bit more of power on the straights. He's going to now pull back ahead. This battle will continue raging for a few laps more. Richard Bradford leading this train with Julio Rodriguez and both the ACCSimSeries behind him. A little bit of a wiggle there from the Aston Martin, so we could see some catch-up coming from the KTM, but he's got quite a way to go before he really makes anything happen. Really wide there on the exit though, and that has allowed Julio Rodriguez to catch up so much onto the back of this Aston. As we say that, Barkus still... Giantatis Barkus is still right on the back of the McLaren. He knows that he's better in this twisty little section at the top of the track, and he's going for it every time he possibly can. But he just can't seem to make enough headway to get ahead. It really looked like he was going to manage it last lap. He's got back side by side of him again in the same situation again. This time he's got a little bit of a nicer exit though, and he actually is managing to pull ahead a little bit. Oh, and he's got it. But does he got it? No! So he really went on the braking zone in order to try and make that happen. Got to be really careful with the change of traction there, my friend. And that has let Martin Cube off the leash a little bit. Thrown him out on his own. And now we see from the bonnet cam of Mihai that... he is now right behind Barkus. Martin Cube there made a mistake and managed to fall down positions as well, but he's in third place there. Love the sound of that BMW chugging away. Car number 5 there, that's Kiss. Oh! Mistake coming in there as he gets pushed side by side. That was because Luis Fernandez was trying to take his position. Oh no, he actually just made the mistake himself, and then Luis Fernandez dives on the inside. There we go. Nice little reactive move from Luis Fernandez to put himself ahead of Mihai, and now Mihai has to track down this Aston Martin with a little bit of a battered nose there, hitting the wall on the inside, but the Aston Martin goes wide and lets him back through. So the wet clearly spicing up this race a little bit more with some of these mistakes that you wouldn't always see from some of our drivers. Julio Rodriguez still quite close to the Aston Martin, so these guys with fairly similar pace. KTM starting to come into its own. He's got those two BMWs of their ACCSimSeries closing down on him as well. No more battles out the front as Ryan Ware is still leading this race. Quite a decent way ahead of most of the field, but Jose Martins is actually keeping him on his toes right now, setting very similar lap times. with actually a faster best lap time. Jose Martins with a 150.6, the fastest lap time of the race so far in this Porsche in second position. Martin Cube in the McLaren has now been let loose a little bit by the mistakes of Giantatas Barkas, who is catching up in his Ginetta. He's trying to pull back into contention and setting some good lap times while doing it. Little mistake there, just threw him off his game. But then you have Luis Fernandez chasing down Mihai. Doesn't seem to quite have the pace of Mihai, so Mihai's probably going to be pulling away. Daniel Durrett, someone who we haven't managed to see much of in this race, sort of just had a bit of a calm, clean race in that lovely yellow Mercedes. He is in 7th position right now. So we're coming into the last few minutes of the race, and then we get to this train of action that we're probably going to be focusing on for a lot of the rest of the race. Richard Bradford in 8th position leads Julio Rodriguez in the KTM, and then behind those two are the BMWs of Fabio and then Felipe Sikansky. And this is basically those drivers who are sort of in contention. This is not one of our splits. This is new. This is the support race that we're going to be having each week for our splits. People have been wanting more GT4 action. We are trying to slip it into our schedule. And so, how we have done this is by making it a support race for the main series. So this is just an open sign up and come race. Not one of our main series. Not splitted or ranked or anything. Just a nice fun race to start off the stream with. And after this will be our top split. We have a minute left of this race. Ryan Ware leading the way still, and this is the closest battle on the track so far. Richard Bradfield in 8th position, followed by Judy Rodriguez in the KTM. Good to see KTM, and I'm normally not excited to see the Astons because there's so many of them, but this is an absolutely exquisite livery. I honestly don't specifically know about the times. I think the times have changed, have stayed the same. But I, luckily, do not have to be too involved in the organising. Yeah, it is. It's lovely. I'm a really big fan of this. Really big fan of this from Richard Bradfield. Is that Mihai? He has actually been absolutely caught by Luis Fernandez. This is interesting because Fernandez didn't have the pace on Mihai before. He only got ahead because of a mistake from Mihai, but now he's managed to catch up again. Mihai had a very slow lap last time out, so perhaps he's just being slow rather than Luis Fernandez catching up there. Luis Fernandez setting a decent pace, not incredibly slow for this server, but might be able to pressure Mihai into another mistake, especially as we've seen him hitting the wall already. So there we go, Ryan Ware giving a celebration. Jose Martins coming in second, and then Martin Cube now coming over the line to finish third. Barkas couldn't catch up before the end, and now we see Mihai just going to lead home Luis Fernandez. Daniel Durrett, the next car to come across, as this little train is going to settle in for the rest of our top 10 slots. Richard Bradfield, Julia Rodriguez in the KTM, and then the two Sikanskis, Fabio leading Felipe, are going to finish off our 10th and 11th spots. Actually 9th and 10th. I don't know who dished out there that I didn't notice. There we go. This has been our first of these GT4 support races. And it was pretty good fun. I'm pretty happy with how that went. Obviously, slight technical difficulties at the start, but not to worry now. And I'm actually checking, as you can see here. Luckily, I didn't show the admin password, so I'm still better than Shane. But I'm checking the server details, and The pro split has not changed time at all. It's still at the same time. The pros are, as we speak right now, in practice, getting ready to go into their split. So congratulations to Ryan Ware. I mean, obviously we sort of expected him to do well, being as we used to call him the GG. I just typed in the absolute wrong password, and I have no idea where my brain got those 3 letters from. Yes, the Elfus. I'm a big fan of the Janettas. Love to see the Janettas doing well. And I just watched a horrific crash into the pit wall in free practice. But that's it for watching. My man Mihai will hopefully be joining me soon, and I'm going to be setting up stuff ready for watching the first race of Season 5 for our Pro Split. And while I'm doing that, I hope you guys can enjoy some of these highlights before we get the top split action going.
You used to bring the smell of rain into my bed and lie so close to me. You could be inside my head. Maybe it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing to feel the kind of magic that your love brings.
The stream has started. I was streaming the first race, but you were good. Put on your webcam. We are in.
You live
hello and welcome back. We have just had our first GT4 support race for the ACCSS Sim series, and this is now moving into our final split. And to join me now is Mihai.
Hello.
How are you, Mihai? How did your race go?
Finished fifth, which is pretty good. First time Zandvoort in a GT4, so that was nice. It was interesting because it started wet and then got dry, so it was all about nursing the tires. I did commit the murder on a Fernandez, unfortunately, but that's because I missed my braking point. But that's what you do when you don't you've never driven the car before.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I think they're a good idea because it was a lot of was quite a casual atmosphere and definitely a lot of fun. Good,
yeah, that's great. That's what we wanted, to get some more GT3 action in there, which is fantastic. The other things we can talk about have been flashing across your screen, and I'll go across them very quickly. We have the GT4 Hours of Alton. Our 6 hours Silver Sum was very successful. We're going to be doing GT4, more GT4 action, even with us 4 races with the GT4 Hours of Alton. I'll be there in the Bimmer. We're going to have some fun. Not sure, I'm pretty sure we're definitely having this one streamed as well. Not sure who will be on the broadcast specifically, but I believe Dan Terry will be running that, so that's great to see. And on Tuesday, we have the next round of our BTCC Super Tourers event. It's going to be at Cadwell Park. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be great. David Jessett, huge shout out to him. He's back. He's doing coaching sessions on Thursday for all of our drivers. And if you want to get involved in any of that or any of this that we're doing, ! Sign up in the chat. Let's move on to Zandvoort. What are your opinions of Zandvoort in general, Mihai?
Narrow and sand. That's basically Zandvoort in 2 words. I think we're going to see a lot of struggling to overtake, and we're going to see a lot of mistakes because it is one of these tracks that doesn't really have a lot of tolerance for going off the track.
Yes, absolutely. Especially with wet weather, we could definitely see some stuff. I'm absolutely guaranteed. Even in the dry, I'm always pretty certain that someone will mess up their braking going into Audi and will have to cut across that little bit of turf there. Unfortunately, we don't have all the modern banking in, but it's still an incredible twisty track. Lots of difficulty overtaking. We saw a lot of action in Vodafone, and I've started to see that more and more as I watch this track. And then obviously turn 1 is one of the few good overtaking opportunities. So we should be moving into, as I turn the volume on, moving into the race, the qualifying.
Yeah, we've got Paul Greatrix, who's now been promoted to gold. He's the first one out. He's going to do our first lap of Zandvoort. Lovely, in the white Bentley. It's going to be interesting to see all of the new guys who are in here for Season 5. So we can head over to the game screen fully. And obviously if you haven't watched this before, we have red, white and silver badges in here. The silver are invitational. These are drivers who have already been banned. White are the pros. They will be going out with the invitationals in the second half of qualifying, but for the first 15 minutes it's for the AMS, our tier 2 drivers. And as we're coming around the last corner, I'm going to take you on a lap of wet Zandvoort with Mr. Paul Greatrix in his Bimmer. We don't want that camera, or Bentley, because that camera is awful in the Bentley. Coming out to turn 1, it's a very typical old school turn 1, just a big run down to the turn, a little slight bit of banking, but nothing really serious, more camber than banking there. Up to the first corner, which is actually banked, is this left-hander that we're coming up to in real life, but we haven't got the banking in game yet. Lots of really small acceleration zones for the first part of the lap, really tight and twisty. We're going to see we can see a little bit of side by side going for the first bit there, but it will very quickly get cut off if we do, and then full flat down through this, essentially a straight, although it's so wiggly. And then this is one of the most fun corners, this huge sweeping right-hander that you need to just brake sort of slightly and carry a ton of speed through before you get into, in my opinion, the worst part of the track, which is these next couple of corners going up to Vodafone. Incredibly tricky to get your braking for these points right. And then
I still haven't found the apex there, I haven't found the apex there after many laps.
Yes, absolutely. Those corners incredibly hard. So we'll see a load of people getting side by side through Vodafone, hopefully, and then on the drag down to Audi, which is the corner where we'll see most people messing up and going across the dirt there to the left. But if you don't, you get this really tight hairpin after your sharp right, which leads you down to the last corner, as it were. I think it's technically 2 corners, I don't know, but you get just this huge, again, this is a corner that in real life now is banked, huge right-hander that just keeps going on, brake into it, and then absolute power out.
42.8. Actually, pretty good lap. But almost going behind. We've already had the first person who's been disqualified because of improper qualifying behavior, as in there was a pro person who went out on track during the AM qualifying. So, as per usual in first races, people don't listen to the driver's briefing.
Yeah, always a few incidents here and there. Obviously, these sort of silly mistakes will stop pretty quickly because you're not going to make that mistake twice. Yeah. And so far, with the running that we've had, Thomas van Zanten in the lead with a 1:42.5.
People are being quite well behaved, not really racing each other, which is good. The track is a bit short, and the field is fairly large at 49 cars.
Yep, we didn't have 49 cars in our Friday amateur split race, but even then, we had people talking about how tricky it was to get a nice qualifying lap in. Obviously, the lap differentials are bigger there.
Ollie Moss had a bit of a moment, as you were saying, quite in the chicane, so your prediction did come true. Tricky little corner that.
It's always going to happen. There's a lot of people in the lower splits talking about trying to find times. Andy Thorpe sets the new fastest lap time, just almost a tenth down, or up. People are talking about trying to learn to find more lap time, and it's something that even our pros struggled a lot with throughout the first couple of seasons of ACCSS, and it's really nice to see that people have started to get better at that. Let's do a little bit of car watch as well. I'm absolutely happy to see that I have a Nissan Brethren in the top split. We have Florian Sachs, who is driving the red Motil car, number 23. That's the livery I normally drive when I'm not doing my memes.
Glorious Nippon Steel, what you're talking about. It is the superior car.
Big fan of this car. Big fan of the Motil livery from Super GT as well. The red car, as it's known. We got a lot of Ferraris, which also as a Ferrari fan, I'm good to see. Lots of red on the field today. We have a Bimmer, Diego, who is in the pits right now, driving a BMW. We don't see many of those, so it's nice to see. We have Paul Krampf in the McLaren, Chris Meadows as well. Oh, Zaransky is back again in the BMW. That's good to see.
I think quite a few moments here going on and around the track. A lot of people spinning out. So it is Wet Zandvoort is catching quite a few people out.
Also got
these are pros, so
yeah,
it speaks for the difficulty of this track. It's quite unforgiving because there's very little to no runoff pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a couple of Lexi as well, who should be doing well. Very nice stable cars in the wet here, as well as the Bentleys. So it will be good to see some of these guys do well. Joseph is back in the Audi as well, which is good to see. And what about the pros? Any of these interesting cars? Most of the same. Maciej Markowski, obviously, in his Lamborghini in the Invitational split. And we do have Joseph Cocking, a new driver, who is driving a Lamborghini in the Pro split. So good to see more of these guys out here.
Now, this is a shout out because I'm very biased. Shane Thomas is in a McLaren, so I want him to do well.
Yeah. Absolutely, and he has abandoned the Ferrari, and so I want him to do badly now. So hopefully that goes well. Yeah, lots of familiar names, really good to see. Julian Strasser in his famous Bentley as well. Although we were talking about the famous Bentley colours during the Silverstone 6, he has ditched those. He is now in the ACCSimSeries, which is his endurance team that they've set up together. The red and black that they're running. So good to see him fully committing to that, as Ferrari in the background there just getting real messy.
Yeah, if you're talking about Poirier, then yeah, he's back in the pits. So does Geno. It looks like he overcooked it into turn 1.
A ton of mistakes being made as Paul Krampf is coming over the line to improve on his time. This should be a new pole time, and it is a 1:42 flat.
Very, very nice, and it's from McLaren, so even better.
Absolutely. There is a position.
Yeah.
There was a prediction still set up from last night, so I was. I'm gonna think of some predictions for you guys to be doing.
Ooh, Ollie Moss, the first person to 41s, 41.889, puts him on pole for tier 2 drivers.
And the Rinaldi Racing Ferrari. Good to see more of the in-game liveries, and one that you don't see often. So shout outs for that.
Also got Dan Terry now out from silver, so it's his first top split race, right?
Yes.
Man himself.
It's his first top split race. He is now due to the difficulties of organising, running, commentating, and racing in a series. He has now competed. He's now, I believe, possibly the only person to have competed in all 3 series so far, that I know of at least. He was in silver first, then moved back to AM, or he was in AM, then silver, then AM again, and now he is moved up to the pros. Him and Chris Meadows been rivals and raced quite closely together ever since they started in ACCSS, which is right at the beginning, and they've managed to find themselves together again on the track here.
It's a success story, right? They started as bronze drivers in this beginner league, and now they're at the top of it, right?
Absolutely, as Chris Meadows just takes a little bite out of Terry there with a slight improvement to his lap time. Although Terry still has time in the tank to go. He's 8 temps now up. So that's actually going to be a decent little jump of positions. If he can do a good last couple of corners, he can get a lot. But Audi is a treacherous beast. So if we jump up closer to the top, I just missed him. Robert McGregor crosses the line and goes up to 3rd. Nicholas Norberg also has placed 2nd. These are the 2nd and 3rd drivers to get into the 141s.
Guess people are just finding the right pressures and starting to understand the track a bit better.
Yeah, the track has actually got more wet since we started qualifying. The conditions have gone from damp to wet, but people are starting to get used to it.
I think the weather conditions, right? People have their setups set up for wet conditions. So
yes,
before they were probably overheating, and now their tires have gotten into that good window. So we're going to be seeing some improvements.
Absolutely, that very well could be the case. Paul Grachik's there getting slowed down a little bit by someone backing off. Nathan Burnswood. Now I want to shout out Nathan Burnswood. He's got I like these colours. These are like the old Sahara 4th India colours.
That is a nice livery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also coming with a huge improvement as he's coming around the last corner, almost a second up. And almost a second will put him right at the top of the times as well.
Yeah.
So he's not just a pretty face here. Going to come over the line with a pole time. Probably at 141.7. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. That's pole by a 10th. And Jose Martinez also did a small improvement, went up to 14th behind him. So people are starting to find some more time. Norberg doing really well now, P3. It's very good seeing him do a bit better.
Yep, he's switched over to the Ferrari superior car, and so he's having superior results with a little bit of a wacky livery. Not sure I'm a fan of that, but
Strasser takes a bit of a spin, so we're still seeing mistakes going on. I think he has just one more chance to improve. He wants to get into the top 10. Oh dear, Burnswood. Yeah, Burnswood just ate the wall. I think that's his lap over, and I don't know if he has time to try to do another one. So I think he's gonna have to stay on that 41.7.
yeah, we're just watching the replay now of Nathan Burnswood gets past a Porsche. Stressed that he's lost a little bit of time and just messes up his line there, donks the wall.
It's always unfortunate, right? You pass by somebody, even if they don't impede you too much, you just sort of just puts you off your rhythm. Absolutely,
it stretches you out a little bit. You're thinking about where are they going to be, where are they going to go, where are they going to let me pass. You maybe lift just a tiny bit. Can absolutely really affect you, even if they don't physically affect you much, as we see small improvements from a couple of drivers. It seems like most people have set most of what they're going to do for the lap. You people confident with their laps sitting in the pits. Not going to be able to get around for another lap now.
Yeah, so everybody who's starting a lap now, this is their last chance in Tier 2. So a little bit of pressure for everybody who's had unlucky qualifying. Still looking at that Nissan. Let's hope your Frank can improve.
Yeah, absolutely. Would be great to see Florian Sachs up there. He is improving by a decent amount so far. Julian Strasser, though, who we are on board with now in the Bentley, is coming around for a lap now with a slight improvement that could put him up a couple of positions. Oh, and the
final corner. Yeah. Ooh. He might still keep it, though. See?
He's going to at least gain one position. He won't gain the two positions he was close to, but he should come up against Fabien Piogne there.
Right, that's the end of the AM split qualifying. So now everybody who finishes their lap, that's their last lap, and everybody else will have to return to the pit.
So here is Florian Sachs coming over. He is going to get an improvement right at the end in the Nissan. It's going to hop up 2 places into 15th. But
see, Andy Thorpe still coming in, and then Ollie Moss behind him. I believe that's it. Unless Zaharansky can make another lap, I think he can, as well as Hawkins all the way back there. Ollie Moss comes in but does not improve. So that'll be P2 in class for him. Geno and Dan Terry, who really needs an improvement. He's P20 at the moment.
Lewis Hawkins here, number 184. Seems like the last one out. Dan Terry just getting a slight improvement on him.
Not enough to jump up, though.
Yep.
20.
Lewis Hawkins going with an interesting shade of red here. A very dark livery. I'm liking the black and red here. Not the red I would chosen, but nice. Good to see some different colours put in there than the regular stuff. Pretty slick.
A person to follow this season, by the way, will be Nicolas Alvarado, because not only is he looking to get banned, but he's switched control methods. He's joined us with a wheel.
Absolutely, that is a good point. And he is the first car out right now. He's also switched to the Ferrari. He's in the Sky livery, so we're going to now sit on board for a lap with Nicolas Alvarado, one of our community's favourites. No longer the keyboard and mouse hero, as he has moved onto a wheel. Fantastic to see him getting this, and he's managed to be really impressively keep a lot of his times pretty similar already after only having it for maybe a week or two. So going through the first sector there into this long straight. This is a nice area for the Ferrari. It likes these sort of quite fast corners, but you've got to Be careful of some of the curbs, really close out to the edge there. Keeping up a huge amount of speed through this sector. Ooh, it's thrown around a little bit by that curb there, though. That is the nemesis of the Ferrari. As we come through this incredibly tricky section at the top.
At our first spin as well, with Harvey almost getting collected at the entrance of turn 1. He's managed to survive though.
Yeah, man, all of our pro drivers are starting their first lap now, so we're going to get to see some a load of lap times coming through. Hopefully not too many of them invalidate them. This isn't a track that you get a lot of invalidations on, though, just because if you're going off the track, you're going to entirely wreck your lap time anyway, so, and it's, you know...
Yeah, there's only maybe... I don't even really know. There's maybe the chicane where you can invalidate, or the final corner right there at the exit where Ashley just... Speaking of Ashley, I love that BMW livery.
Yeah, so having a look at the timetable to see some of our pros jumping up to the top. Nicholas Alvarado, the first sector king, as always. We actually have a match second sector time there, which is nice to see, between Nicholas Norberg and Ollie Moss. Alvarado is now third or second of the pro split guys, with Maciej Markowski the highest time so far in this section of qualifying.
Quite impressive with the Lambo and the wet, honestly.
This is a rub, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, one Brando, for following. As I'm gonna look for Ashley Broomfield to see that livery. There we go. Yeah, I'm fully in agreement. The BMW art car. BMW, a long tradition of art cars. And some great psychedelic 70s sort of looking stuff here. Ashley Bloomfield, obviously a new car for this. A lot of the invitational drivers trying out new cars. They want to give our pro drivers some good competition up the front, but you know, they've sort of they don't need to win anymore, as you know, they're already out there. So it's good for them to learn, have some fun with some new cars. Bloomfield taking the Bimmer, and Shane Thomas, as Mihai said earlier, taking the McLaren. Finally, someone actually driving Jenson Button's McLaren livery. Like, not enough people drive the Rocket RGN liveries. I think they are fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's one of those things that everybody thinks about, so they don't want to seem like, oh, they're...
It's funny, because I think you're right, and I think it's everyone... Because I think I did the same. I think everyone goes, oh, everyone's going to drive the RGN liveries. And then they get into races and no one drives them because everyone's thinking.
So, speaking of liveries, I really like the Sky livery on Alvarado, and he's also our provisional pole sitter.
That he is. He's taken it with 41.6. Just a 10th up so far, and Nathan Burnswood, as Riley comes through and steals that from him with a 41.4. Fantastic there from the Mercedes, the black and green. Jonathan Riley, a new driver, I believe. I don't recognize his name unless he's come up from silver. Victor Janberg back in the Audi, taking third position.
Diggs going through, improving a little bit, but still quite far back. Arno Storms has had a bit of a ballet session there at the start of the straight. And I just switched to Benjamin Oriot to see him start the lap, and then to see him on the grass going into the wall. Probably. Form of commentator skills, I think.
Yeah, just watch Arno there, having a little spin, a little bit of ballet coming in.
Oh, Alvarado has, as you said, Alvarado has had a romantic meeting with the wall. A very, very violent one.
Ooh, yeah.
The final corner.
Just lost rear end grip there.
Yeah. Long corner, you lose it like that, and you're gone. There's nothing you can...
Oh, and as we get out of the replay, watching him spin into the wall, he puts too much power on coming out of the wet pit lane and spins straight into the pit wall. You love to see
Grosjean special, as they would say.
Yes. So Ollie Henley getting caught up there a little bit behind slower Bentley ahead of him, has just lost the small improvement he was making. He's just a 10th up, so might be able to steal a position from Nathan Burnswood, and he actually gets one for Futianba as well.
Yes. Ollie Henley now on P3. Maybe he got a bit of slipstream help from Dudley.
Yep. Victor Yanber doing well in the Audi. We've got some Audi fans in the chat. Dr. Rob saying no Porsches, and that's actually surprising me, but I think he might be due. There we go. Leonard Shungle and Kobe in the AM split. These are your guys, Rob. Leonard Shungle in his weird, slightly beige Porsche livery. It looks like he's already done a whole enduro in that and has mudded it up.
Honestly, it has a certain beauty to it.
It's not bad. I do like the classic Porsche white, black, and red livery, so not too against it. And then we've got Kobe, who is in and amongst that crowd of cars, who is also in the Porsche in the AM split for you.
Bloomfield and Shungle are a bit close together. They're definitely going to be holding each other up a little bit. Have another mistake with Ashley Graylish losing it. Needs to get a lap together. He's pretty far down the field. Very disciplined though. He was holding his brakes and making sure nobody else sort of hit him.
That's a good screenshot there. Just the sad Aston trapped on the curb. So Ollie Henley's going around again, and this time he's going to make that improvement stick. And that's on top of the improvement he already made. So this is going to put him up into first position, actually. Tiny margins there.
Yep, the first one for the first one to go below 41.4. Very close though. It's an interesting one because we were talking before the race, and a lot of people believe that Henley is on his way to be banned this season.
Very fast driver, absolutely could see that happening. Henley and Alvarado, I think, are the two favourites for getting that "You're Banned" t-shirt sent to them in the mail.
I mean, there was also talk about De Ridder, but at the moment he's not having the best qualifying.
Yeah, possibly not a fan of the wet weather.
Could be. Definitely catches people off guard if they haven't practiced before. Cooking with a pretty big improvement from almost last up to P34, which is not bad. It is his first race at ACCSS, so. Oh, I saw Jack Winter there for a split second. Very sad position.
We've got some huge improvements coming in from all of our top drivers as well. We are on board right now with Nicholas Alvarado, who is about to come with a big improvement and possibly become our first driver to hit 140. But that's not going to go unchallenged because both of our other drivers right near the top, Riley and Henley.
You know what? My theory is that people have gotten their tires in order again, just like with the AMs. So we're going to see a few people improving quite a bit.
Very well possible because Henley and Alvarado both jumping up into the 140s together, and Nicholas Riley might be a third person immediately to do the same, coming through in the Mercedes. And he got a ton of time for that last corner right out on the curbing there.
Yeah, but a slipstream to top it off puts him in P2 by less than a tenth.
Absolutely, which is great to see. We've still got most of our pros further down the order than our top AMs, but a lot of them making improvements here and there, as you say, probably getting their tyre pressures right.
I'm looking at the field, and we got in P40 all the way at the back. You got Jack Winter, the person who was P2 in our Tier 2 last season, and extremely fast in the Aston. Now he changed to the McLaren, and he does seem to have a bit of a tough time with it.
Sam Teague also, a fan favourite we always have in his bright pink liveries that we always love. has switched from the Lamborghini to the Aston Martin. Thought the Lamborghini was a little bit too much to handle. We saw him having some issues with that last season, and so he's gone to the much more stable Aston Martin to try and bring himself a little bit further up the order. But Steve Hughes, another person I want to shout out, because he is also in the lovely BMW livery. Him and Ashley Bloomfield both giving this a try. So we're going to have the battle of the Bimmers in the Invitational split.
So we're seeing... Oh, we've got another person going up. I think it was Justin Clerk in the Lexus as he... Oh, I just switched to him as he... I have witnessed a murder. He has... there has been a murder. Ashley Bloomfield has been stabbed from behind by Justin Clerk.
Oof. Yeah, we're just checking that out on the replay there. Just not slowing down as much as the BMW in front of him was, and a collision there. But he has, before that happened, put himself up into 4th position with a 141.5, just ahead of Victor Janber in the Audi. Shane Thomas also finally putting in a good time, getting up to 7th position in his new McLaren. And he is by far now the highest invitational driver, with Maciej Markowski behind him in 16th.
Now, so what happened there with Justin Clerk, that was the exact, perfect mirroring of what happened in my race, in the GT4 race. It's just that turn 1 braking zone just does not, it's just such a deceptive braking zone, because you want to trail brake deep into the corner, but when there's a person in front of you, you kind of can't. But you end up like, if you brake where you think you're going to brake, that's what happens. It's like you can't go through the other guy.
Nicholas Alvarado improves his time to 3 1,000ths behind Ollie Henley.
It's like within the a rounding error of them.
Yeah, if you were watching those 2 laps happen together with like ghosted cars, you would not be able to tell who won.
That's what we have around here. I wonder if we're going to see Clerk take a penalty because of what he did to Ashley.
Possible. I doubt it. I think normally they're pretty lenient with penalties in qualifying, especially when it's something like that that's just such a, just a silly mistake. We wasn't doing anything outrageous. He just didn't quite brake enough.
Yeah, he just used his quality braking point.
Yep, there's Markowski there.
Ooh, Teague is facing the other way. Ooh.
Markowski losing a little bit of time there, but is still going to get a pretty good improvement, and that hops him up to 4th position. These small improvements in a field that's so close can mean a lot. But he was he was another 3 tenths up, which actually wouldn't have gained him a position, but would have put him a lot closer to the next drivers.
Just so you know, this is the end of quali, so this is the last lap for pretty much everybody. So Nicholas Alvarado is definitely going to stay in 2nd position, as Ollie Henley is trying to see if he can improve his lap. He does not.
So Harvey coming through, he's going to get a pretty big improvement, and that jumps him all the way up to 6th.
Massive improvement, yeah, B6.
Yeah, only a few tenths in it, but with a qualifying this close, that means all the world. If we have a look at the timetable now, you can see Ollie Henley in 1st position with the fastest 3rd sector at 140.7, and just 3 thousandths behind him, Nicholas Alvarado still with the fastest 1st sector. And then you have Jonathan Riley behind them with the fastest 2nd sector. These 3 all within a hair's breadth. And then there's a little bit of a drop back of a couple of tenths, almost a second, down to Maciej Markowski, the first of our invitational drivers.
Also got Storms and Doherty being the only 2 people on the track at the moment. They're both quite far down, so they'll need an improvement.
Yep. Keeping an eye on them, but it doesn't look like anyone's getting anything.
Top, and yeah, Doherty doesn't get much of an improvement. You'd expect with a name like that for Storms to be a bit faster during.
Absolutely. So we are at the end of our qualifying, and before we go on to the grid for the start of the next race, we're going to put on our normal end of quali advert, where we're going to show you, if you're new to ACCSS, just some of the things that we end up doing. So we have had word back from that qualifying incident, I believe.
Yeah, it does look like we're going to start off this race in ACCSS fashion with a penalty. It looks like Justin Clerk will get a 10-second penalty at the start of the race because of that incident with Ashley. I do think it was probably because Ashley was on a fast lap.
And now we can go to the grid with Ollie Henley leading the way, Nicholas Alvarado in second. These two, the guys who we are most expecting to get banned, with Jonathan Riley, a new driver, in third position. Maciej Markowski, the first of the invitational drivers, looking to challenge them from fourth position on the grid, with Justin Clark and his 10-second penalty, and Jack Harvey in the Lexus behind them. Victor Janber, the first of the Audis, with Shane Thomas, the second invitational driver, having switched to the McLaren. Burnswood in that lovely Force India colours in ninth, with Ollie Moss in 10th. Behind them, Derrida in the first of the Bentleys, Bandera, Urich, Norberg, who has switched to Ferrari, Krabth, Thorpe, McGregor, Cantera, Horiot in his traditional orange McLaren, Schungel in the Porsche, Storms, Van Zanten, Boyle and Hughes, invitational driver in the colourful BMW, Dudley, Gino, Diggs and McConnell, Julian Strasser, commentator from our Friday split, Hawkins, Piogne, Sam Teague now in the Aston Martin, Ashley Blumfield another invitation with the BMW, Ainsbury, Joseph in another Audi, Greytix, Cocking, Sachs in the Nissan, Let's Go Nippon Steel, Martinez, Doherty, Winter, Kobe, Graylish, Skymansky, Tweedy, Terry, Zaransky, Meadows and Villa, who was disqualified from qualifying for going out in the wrong session. Sit here with our little battle at the back here between Terry and Chris Meadows, two people who have done a lot of work in the running of ACCSS.
Penalties.
And as our drivers go on their formation lap, rather than watch these, we are going to jump to a quick highlight. So we are here, ready to start the Assetto Corsa Competizione Sim Series, round 1 of our Season 5 Top Split Championships. It goes green. Ollie Henley, Nicholas Alvarado side by side down to the start. A good start for most of our cars, although the Lexus of Justin Clark, with his 10-second penalty, being a little bit cautious and getting dived by his fellow Lexus Jack Harvey, who is now side by side with Maciej Markowski and has taken the position. Nicholas Alvarado losing out to Jonathan Riley in the Mercedes, who is going to go ahead in that position, while behind them you can see Victor Janber and Shane Thomas fighting for position. Shane Thomas looking to try and make a little bit of a move coming around the outside of him, but hasn't managed to do it and is now getting pressured by, it looks like, is that Ollie Moss in the first of the Ferraris? We'll see as we get through the first part. Yeah,
that's the back. That's Cocking having died and a few others. Oh, we've had a few deep drive-throughs. Yeah, there we go. This should be cleared though.
So let's have a quick look and see what happened. This is the back of the field at the start of our race. We are watching Cocking right now. Oh, big incident there. Ferrari round, and that's a roadblock. A couple of cars having to squeeze around. You can see Dan Terry, Chris Meadows getting out there pretty quickly. Zaransky just avoiding this. And then these poor three at the back are having to get going once again. While that was happening, Ollie Henley continued to lead from Jonathan Riley, with Nicholas Alvarado falling a little bit behind him there. Jack Harvey then is ahead of Maciej Markowski, who's the first of the invitational drivers, with Justin Clark, Victor Janber behind them with their little drive-through. And Ollie Moss is, as I correctly guessed, leading the amateur split just ahead of Edgar Jurek in the second Ferrari behind that.
Well, there's some action at the back. Geno and Poyne for with Geno. Stop now. Oh, Cobb is doing his drive-through. Maybe he shouldn't, because I do think these will get cleared.
Oh, that's unfortunate mistake there. Little teething issues, but these will get sorted out by the stewards as we are watching the front of the field going around. Incredibly slippy conditions, so it's going to be hard for people to get their bearings straight on here, get their tires up to pressure and get them working. You can see a dry line formed, but it is wet and it is getting more wet as the race goes on, although not until right at the end, so it shouldn't actually have a huge effect.
It shouldn't have much of a bearing in the race.
Yep, we might see more rain in the second race though, as we're looking back into the field. Jurek being pressured slightly by Paul Kramp there, with Nathan Burnswood behind him.
I bet Zandvoort, best Zandvoort.
Steve Hughes, the first of these two invitational BMWs, is right in the middle of the pack of the pros here, the further back pros, just behind Leonard Schungel.
There's a big, the back, it's all jumbled up. The whole field is still very, very jumbled up. You can see that, this track where it's very difficult to overtake, and you're going to see these long trains forming all around the track.
Yep, absolutely. As one driver is a little bit out of position, that will slow down everyone here. As we see Paul Graytrix there in the Bentley, trying to go side by side with Gino, but not quite making it down into turn one. A little bit behind them there, Florian Sachs trying to make a move on Dan Terry. Dan Terry round the outside. Florian Sachs desperately trying to hold on to it, puts a wheel on the curb there.
Further to the back, you've got Arno Storms and Steve Hughes both on the inside trying to do an overtake. Steve Hughes managed to do it, but Storms is still at the back. There's still a big fight around P23.
Yep, Hughes now up into 20th, just ahead of Leonard Schungel. Here's the Arno Storms in the Mercedes that Miha was talking about.
Further up, we've got Markowski, who's having a little bit of a fight with Justin Clark. Very, very good for him in P5 in that Lamborghini, notoriously hard to control.
Not a car people loving the rep, as Andy Thorpe is off. Have a look at what happened there, and there's actually another Bentley spinning as well, so two of the Bentleys spinning there on that corner. Doesn't look like they hit each other, just both of them making the same mistake and getting a little bit out of control there, slipping back down the order.
Pit window's open, so we'll see. Damaged cars are going to start pitting in. We've already had our first DNF at Jack Winter in that first incident. He got really damaged and could not continue. People are being quite cautious, as they should.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, John Dudley and Andy Thorpe here, incredibly close together. 2 Bentleys further down the back. This sort of 20th driver area has been pretty nasty, and as you see those few mistakes being made, Leonard Schungel and Steve Hughes here, who we were looking at earlier, followed by Arno Storms, have managed to carve their way up a few positions.
I said the first, second, and third driver. There's a big train up from P4. So we're going to see some fights there closer to the top. Murkowski's up to the back of Jack Harvey now.
Yeah, Jack Harvey just leading this train, not being able to quite keep up with the first 3 who have really spread out. And then from here backwards, it's all action. Go on board with Victor Janber to watch some of these guys up the front.
Steve Hughes is up in the back of Benjamin Oria, back in P17. So he's carving his way upfield in that beautiful art car.
Yep, absolutely. Not managing to, none of the BMWs managing to make their way really well in qualifying, but Steve Hughes, really confident when it comes to the race, is getting past people, sticking onto the back of anyone ahead of him. Actually, he's going in for a very early pit stop here as well. Perhaps just looking to get out of the chaos of all of these drivers. Perhaps looking to fix some sort of mistake with his tyre pressures or something. It could be dangerous putting him back with some of the slower guys who've made mistakes or have damage, but it could pay off for him, and he could... you know, this is a track, as we've been saying, where it's incredibly hard to overtake. So doing something like an over or undercut can definitely work. If we look further back in the field, we can see that quite a few people have gone for those early pits. Thomas van Zanten is leading them so far, if the timing is to be believed.
I'm back. Okay, there we go. There's something really weird going on with my connection. I should be back now.
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we're having the first pits. Oh, as I just watched Cocking go into the wall.
Ooh, and on Moss with Edgar Urick. Edgar Urick, they're bouncing across the curbs. We're definitely going to have a watch of that again. These guys were going side by side. They've been close for the whole race, but Edgar Urick was not happy to keep sitting there behind the red Ferrari for much longer, so he was going to try and make a move.
Oh dear.
Ooh, yeah, right over that curb, and then just the bounce and the swing. Really funny seeing them rolling over those curbs. As Alphan in chat has just informed us that the pit wall is not up. Sorry about that. Teething issues with having the GT4 race. I forgot to get it changed over, but it should be up now. So if you have a look at the exclamation mark timings link now, and I will do so myself as well, the pit wall should be running. There we go. It might take a while to catch everyone since it's only just started running. But it will start to show everyone. The laps might be a little bit wrong. Might be 5 laps out, but everything else should be correct. Yeah, very bad attempt there from Edgar as he gets thrown about on the curbs. Couple cars, I keep seeing yellow flags as well. Unfortunately, a lot of them are the cars right down the back. We see here Piogne. We'll take a look at a quick replay, see if we can see anything. Nah, he's been in the grass there for a little while. Getting a bit of a spin there. A lot of these will just be spins on the wet. Just people not quite managing to keep it on the road. There was even a few people spinning in the dry races that we had for the lower splits. So in the wet, it's even harder to keep on the road.
It's easy to spin. Had quite a bit of a group here back around Ollie Moss. They're all very close together. Gonna see some action here, I think, unless people like to pit in and not lose time in the traffic.
Absolutely, it looks like we do perhaps, yeah, no, going defensive early just from the Lexus there. Or it might be a backmark Lexus. He's just letting everyone past. Nathan Birds was here following Paul Cramp.
They might have just been cooling tires.
Here's Ollie Moss.
No, he is a backmarker.
Ollie Moss, who is right behind Shane Thomas now. Ollie Moss.
McDonald's had a moment.
Yep, Ollie Moss leading the race. Oh, and we're actually going to come across that car here. Bentley spun by the edge of the road. Not a car that's in contention for anything again. We're just going to see a few of these back markers rolling around. And Ollie Moss is in a position here where obviously he doesn't need to overtake Shane Thomas. He is already leading his split. But if he is faster than Shane Thomas, he will want to get past so he can start pulling away, take that overall 8th position, and manage to get a little bit further out from his competition behind him.
Yeah, Cramp is quite close, so he can't really afford to be held up if Shane Thomas is much slower.
Yep, and also can't afford to make a mistake in the overtake. We've already seen one of his greatest challenges fall back due to a missed attempt.
Somebody's gotten a penalty. I don't see him on the sheet. Oh, because I've got the wrong sheet up.
Yep, Ollie Moss has got a 10-second penalty. As Justin Clark goes into pits.
Yeah, I guess he's going to serve it now, and yeah, Ollie Moss leading his split. Well, now he's going to have to lead it harder, basically.
Yep, absolutely. Justin Clark coming in from right round the front of the race. He was sort of the cork in the bottle for that pack, as it were. And so that's going to change things a little bit.
Why did Ollie get a penalty? It doesn't show me here. Oh, Joseph, I was looking at Ollie Moss and I just saw Paul Joseph, I think. Yeah. Anyway, I just saw him sort of going the other way. Ooh, Shane Thomas makes a mistake that lets Ollie Moss get past. That could have been pretty hairy.
Shane Thomas looking for the inside on the return, but not going to get it. And now he's just a little bit sliding there, but settling in behind Ollie Moss for the time being.
Oh, we got Dan Terry in the sand.
Oh, we're going to have a watch of that. Dan Terry, the big boss man. Where is he? He was up quite a few positions. Driving the number 1 car as a Bentley all over the back of him. And actually the Bentley just hunts him into the wall. Unfortunate there. And he gets a bit of a spin on trying to get round back onto the track. So an unfortunate play there, and that's going to be a penalty for that Bentley, unfortunately, whoever that was.
Definitely. We've also seen Alvarado's fallen back quite a bit. He's about 6 seconds off of the leaders. Now we've got Riley and Henley quite close together in the lead.
So Ollie Moss's penalty is for tapping car number 75, which is Nathan Burnswood, who is behind him now in the rear.
Oh.
That was on lap 1. That is right at the beginning of the session, so probably T1 or 2. So nothing to do with the incident
I didn't see a bit. Yeah.
He got jumped to a huge amount of drivers in the pit, including Maciej Markowski. Shane Thomas, you can see there leaving the pits as well as Victor Janber. Oh, and Victor Janber and Maciej Markowski actually side by side there, tapping into each other. Oh, yeah, Maciej Markowski came out a little bit too close there. Was sort of clipping into the Audi and then battered him. And the Audi, Victor Janber does drive in VR, so a little bit tricky for him to see there. Maciej Markowski on new tyres making a mistake as well into that corner and is going to get thrown down behind the Audi. Probably good. The Audi maybe deserved that from having being bumped by him, but he's now going to have to follow that car. And that puts Shane Thomas in the lead of the Invitational split as well. So he had a much better pit stop than Matt Shea.
A very Shane Thomas pit stop of him. Oh, Riley is in the pits, or P2, has decided to go for the undercut on Ollie Henley.
Yeah, just trying to get out of the way. Ollie Henley is starting to come up against some back markers, so that could be a smart play there by Riley.
Pointy and Meadows are not having the best race. Meadows had a bit of an incident as well. He had to dodge a spinning Bentley. So this. Okay. Car number 12. Who's that?
We're watching Sam Teague, who finds himself in 9th position, but is one of only a few drivers who hasn't pit, as you see there. I think that was Chris Meadows just bounding across the dirt there in the McLaren ahead of Sam Teague.
See what else we got on here.
Oliver Henley is in the pits, so he's just coming in. So we're going to have to see if he can come out ahead of Riley's. Good reaction to the strategy of Riley, not wanting to risk different track positions, making a play. So we're going to sit on board with Jonathan Riley and see if he can take the position back from Ollie Henley.
See where Henley